Dad's new wife made me sleep in a garage for 2 years while her kids got the bedrooms. When I only invited my dad to my graduation and not her, she had a complete meltdown. My parents divorced when I was young. I lived with my dad in our decent 3-bedroom house. His master bedroom, my room, and a guest room. It was fine until he remarried when I was 15. Chelsea brought 2 kids from her previous marriage. Dean, 16, and Nora, 13. When they moved in, Chelsea had ideas about room arrangements. Dean was older and a boy, so he should get my larger bedroom. Nora needed a nice, comfortable space as a young girl, so she'd take the guest room. Chelsea and Dad would share the master. That left me without a room. My dad looked uncomfortable but didn't argue when Chelsea brightly suggested I move into the garage. It'll be like your own private apartment, she said. Like a cool den for a teenager. The fixing up was minimal. Old rug over concrete floor, worn-out couch, wobbly desk, cheap space heater for winter, box fan for summer. The garage was detached from the house. I had to go outside to reach the bathroom or kitchen. No insulation. In winter, I could see my breath. In summer, it was an oven. Spiders everywhere. Smell of old oil and gasoline. I complained to my dad repeatedly. He'd say, "Give it time," or "Chelsea is trying her best," or "It's character building." When Chelsea overheard, she'd call me ungrateful. You have your own big space. Some kids would love that. Meanwhile, Dean and Nora got their rooms decorated. New bedding, curtains, posters, furniture. My garage stayed the same with peeling paint and drafts under the door. The worst incident happened a year in, middle of winter. My space heater broke. The garage got incredibly cold. I piled on blankets, wore hat and gloves to bed, but couldn't stop shivering. After hours of misery, I snuck into the main house and curled up on the living room couch. Next morning, Chelsea found me. She didn't ask if I was okay. She immediately got angry, yelling that I was being dramatic and probably broke the heater myself to cause trouble. She started crying, saying I hated her and was trying to ruin their family. My dad came downstairs. He didn't ask about the heater, just told me to go back to the garage, that they'd sort it out later, and to stop upsetting Chelsea. I lost it. Screamed that I was freezing and he didn't care, that the garage was unlivable, that he always took Chelsea's side. Chelsea screamed back, called me an ungrateful brat and a liar. My dad told me to calm down and show respect, that I was overreacting, and the garage wasn't that bad. It took them 2 days to get me a new heater, another cheap, barely adequate model. For those 2 nights, I slept in winter coat and hat, still freezing. The next 2 years were more of the same. I retreated to the garage, avoided Chelsea. My relationship with Dad became strained. He'd try talking sometimes, but only to get me to apologize to Chelsea or understand her side. He never acknowledged how bad the garage was. Fast forward to graduation. I'm 18, still in the garage, working part-time to save money to move out. My school gave out limited tickets. I had 2, one for my mom, who lives out of state, one for my dad. When Dad asked about tickets, I told him, "Chelsea isn't invited. I only have 2 tickets, for you and Mom." He got very quiet, then red-faced. Said Chelsea was his wife, part of the family, that excluding her would be incredibly rude. Chelsea confronted me in the kitchen, furious. Accused me of being vindictive and deliberately trying to hurt them. Started crying, saying she tried her best to make a blended family work, that I'd been nothing but ungrateful. I snapped, screamed, "You made me sleep in a freezing, disgusting garage for 2 whole years, while your precious kids had warm bedrooms inside my house." Brought up the broken heater, the spiders, the summer heat, the constant feeling of being an outcast. Told her she had no right to celebrate an achievement I made despite her. My dad came running, immediately started yelling at me to stop disrespecting Chelsea, and demanded I apologize and invite her. I looked at him, then at Chelsea, sobbing into her hands but peeking through her fingers, and said, "No, she is not coming." Dad threatened not to come himself. I told him that was his choice, but Chelsea still wasn't invited. Graduation day, Dad showed up alone, looking grim. He sat next to my mom, with a noticeable gap between them. After the ceremony, he came to lunch, but was cold, barely spoke, checked his phone constantly. After an hour, he made an excuse, and left with a stiff, one-armed hug. I moved out 2 days later. The relief closing that garage door for the last time is hard to describe. My new place is just a rented room, but it's warm, clean, safe, and mine. My relationship with Dad is basically non-existent now. He called once demanding I apologize to Chelsea, saying I was rewriting history, and the garage wasn't that bad. When I asked him to acknowledge what I went through, he got defensive. "You kids are all too sensitive these days. I had it tougher growing up." Free you, Daddy.